Hey everybody, welcome back to Sounds Like a Drum, Cadence Independent Media Production. Today, Product Feature Day. We are working with the Turkish Cymbals Meta Series. For those of you who may not know, INDe Drum Lab is now the exclusive retailer in the US for Turkish cymbals, and we've been working with Josh for a while. He's got a lot of amazing products that you may have seen in some of our previous videos, and he's been kind enough to furnish us with these brand new, super amazing cymbals from Turkish that basically nobody's seen yet. They are super fun, and we're going to start off with a pre-pack set and then bring in some other cymbals from the series later on to add in. First up, we're going to start with the 14-inch hi-hats. Next up, the 20-inch ride cymbal. We're going to follow that up with the 16-inch crash. And finally, the 18-inch crash to my right. The first thing you'll probably notice is that these are brilliant finished cymbals. They're buffed, they're shiny, they are not super heavy. The ride is medium, the hi-hats are medium, the crashes are on the thinner side, and they blend together beautifully to make a set of cymbals that really sounds like a family and can do a lot of things. These are cymbals that would be equally at home in the recording studio, on the stage, on tour, pretty much any situation where you want to have some brightness and still be able to blend into the music and have the cymbals blend together as well, all for a shockingly affordable price. Getting into the individual cymbals, or cymbal sets in the case of this, these hi-hats are wonderful, bright but not too bright, not too heavy, in the middle range of weight. very, very comfortable, and they feel really good. Something that I've experienced in the past with brighter cymbals that I would use for pop and rock situations is that they tend to feel stiff, they tend to be hard to control, and they don't tend to be very dynamic when you move from softer passages into really digging into them. And these are giving me a great feel while adding a little bit of weight and brightness to the sound that's going to cut through a little bit more than something darker, but not be overtly brassy and over the top. The 20-inch ride cymbal reminds me of ride cymbals that I grew up playing when I was super into having some definition while also having some crashability and having a beautifully clean bell for when I want to get up on there and really kind of cut through and get the patterns heard across all the electric guitars and different things that I was in the middle of at that time. My favorite part of this cymbal, beyond the fact that it feels great, as the hi-hats also do, is that the bell is bright, clear, separated, but not particularly high in pitch. It's more in the mid-range of pitches of kind of rock-oriented cymbals that I've played in the past, which makes it feel a lot more like I want to hit it hard, and that it also sounds lovely when I don't hit it so hard and just want a smaller accent in the midst of a ride cymbal pattern. Now, as you're watching us go along here, you may say to yourself, you guys never feature cymbals on Sounds Like a Drum. It's about drums. It just so happens that we have a cymbal series we are in the midst of and have been for some time over on our Patreon. If you want to check it out, follow the link below. You can find all of that over there. Next up is our 16-inch crash cymbal. It's bright, quick explosion of sound. I haven't had a 16-inch crash in a really long time, and I forgot how much I liked them. They bridge the gap between larger crashes and splash cymbals, and they really blend into grooves, especially when you're moving quickly, where you might be riding on a larger crash and then moving to the smaller one for an accent in the midst of it. And finally, my favorite of the group, the 18-inch crash. This is exactly what I want a crash to sound like pretty much all the time. It has brightness in it, it has darkness in it, it has a usable bell, it's rideable, frankly, at lower volumes, and it also doesn't ring for a super long time. It's something that you get with hand-hammered cymbals often. A certain kind of dryness overall in the cymbal where you can hit it over and over and over again, and it gives you its full sound and then tempers down really quickly, until you hit it really hard again. Overarchingly, this is a set of cymbals that can have a bright, full sound without dominating the music that you're playing. They still have plenty of volume in them, there's plenty of power here, but with added dynamics, added clarity, and just a little bit more going on in them because of the way that they're manufactured. That gives you more options for sound, more options for mixing and matching if maybe you want to use the crashes and bring in a different ride for a certain situation, or possibly swap out the top hi-hat for something that you may have already. In the end, super fun set of cymbals that can do a lot of things: pop, rock, pit, you name it. Now, for a little background about what these cymbals actually are. Cymbals made in Turkey. They've been made there for hundreds of years. These cymbals are 100% hand-hammered, 100% handmade, 100% produced in Turkey by Turkish cymbal smiths from B20 bronze, which is what high-end cymbals are made out of across the board. One of the largest factories over there, the Mehmet factory, is where these ones are made. Many of the finest brands of Turkish cymbals come out of that factory, and each sub-brand tailors them to their personal tastes. Turkish, in this case, is giving us hand-hammered cymbals, B20, all the things you want out of a cymbal that'll last you a lifetime. Again, at a price point that is absolutely ridiculous. Now, possibly the best part of this entire proposition with INDe is that they have taken all of the guesswork out of buying cymbals online. When you go to their website, you'll see specific cymbals marked with gram weights, all of which are featured in videos and played in many different manners, different feels, different styles, different intensities, so that you can get a sense of an individual cymbal that you're seeing and hearing that you may want to purchase. In addition, INDe is factoring in the possibility that after you've selected your perfect cymbal and played it in person, it may not fit in with the rest of your setup. It may not be the right one for you. And if that happens, they are offering returns for 15 days in exchange for $15 off of your refund just to get it shipped and restocked. This means that you really can, for a very nominal fee and very little legwork, check out maybe more than one cymbal until you find the one that you're really looking for, or at the very least go through their website and hear many, many, many examples of each one until you find the one that you think works for you. In addition to all of this, our friends at INDe were also kind enough to send along a couple of other cymbals that are not included in the pack, but that come from this same meta series from Turkish. We saw what they were, we were a little spooked, a little wondering what we were going to get, and we were pleasantly surprised. If you've been watching the show here, we don't throw splash cymbals up very much. This is an incredible splash cymbal. I'm really excited for you to hear it. What can you say? 8-inch splash, it does what I want an 8-inch splash to do. The big takeaway for me is that I love them to be quick, I love them to be clear, I love them to be bright, and to not have any unusual overtones or gonginess because you're talking about a very small cymbal, and sometimes they can get a little weird. This is basically what I imagine in my head when I envision a splash cymbal, and that's what I want. And now the elephant in the room, 22-inch crash cymbal. Here we go. Now immediately you're going to notice that this sounds significantly different from the 16 and the 18-inch crash cymbals. Hand-hammered cymbals have variances in them, which is why being able to hear them online as INDe offers is so crucial. They can vary, and you want to know before you're buying one. This is one of the funnest cymbals that I've heard in a long time. It reminds me of a cymbal blank that I've had for years that I use sometimes. It's fast, it's trashy, it's not as loud as you would think from a 22, even when you're really getting into it, and it dies down super fast, almost like a china when you're playing it, but because of the bell and because of the overall profile and the fact that it's a traditional shape, you can play it like a regular cymbal, you can beat on it all you want. It's great for the end of the fill when you want to make sure and get all of the rage out. To sum up, the Meta Series is a set of cymbals that can cross genres super easily. They can fit into a lot of playing opportunities that you might have. They are unbelievably affordable, whether as a single cymbal or as a set. And ultimately, if you're looking for something brighter in your life, but you don't want to go all the way to heavy metal sounds, this is a set of cymbals that will give you exactly what you're looking for, whether it's pop, rock, pit orchestra stuff, situations where you want to have clear, distinct cymbal sounds that don't step out too much, that don't overwhelm everything, and that at the end of the day, they just feel good. All right, that about wraps it up. Thanks so much to Josh and INDe Drums for allowing us to check out these cymbals and facilitating all of this. This was my first time playing Turkish cymbals, actually the brand Turkish Cymbals. And I have to say, also as a person that doesn't always turn to bright cymbals, I was really impressed. We had a lot of fun with these today, and I can imagine a lot of scenarios where I would prefer these over things that I already have, because they would be the right thing for that situation. It's what we're always looking for. And lastly, thanks so much for watching. Please follow the link below, check out these cymbals, check out everything they have to offer, as well as everything else at INDe Drums. And thank you for watching our very first cymbal product feature. We had a blast today, and we'll see you at the next one.